All right, guys, we had some technical difficulties going on with that for the beginning. First time doing the countdown, but it is what it is. It's also technically Monday for me, even though it's Tuesday because we had the day
Same.
off. But what's up, everyone? Hopefully, we all had a good 4th of July weekend. I am sitting here today virtually with a friend of mine who you guys may not know. His name is Joe Delara. He's a writer for the Action Network, host of a podcast called The Odds Cast with my older brother, who may not be named because I don't want to name him, but it is what it is. How was your 4th of July weekend and what's been going on?
Hey man, it was pretty good. I had a couple dogs, rip that grill to shreds. It was good. We had a nice time. We got a little bronze, hit the beach, so we had a good time. 4th of July was nice. It was a little upsetting as an NBA guy. There was just nothing. There were no games on. I mean, I was stuck there watching Luka Doncic bring back Slovenia to the Olympics. So like, that tells you,
though.
Yeah, it was electric, but that tells you what my weekend was like.
I actually saw Mo Wagner German highlights. If you did not see them, he looks like LeBron James. He was playing, I think, Brazil.
Dude, yeah, Mo Wagner was just absolutely dominating. It's like it kind of just shows you like how good like guys that you're like, this guy's a scrub in the NBA, and they just are way better than everybody else.
Yeah, I actually, if you haven't seen, I think it's called The Challenge with Brian Scalabrine, where he just goes to like every park and just literally dominates people one-on-one. It's a great, and he was like literally the worst NBA player, well, at least on Twitter for the longest time.
I mean, yeah. I mean, besides, like, he would just make, like, a three. Like, he was shooting, like, 20% from three, but he was a GOAT.
He was outstanding to watch. And he was on that Celtics team. I think he won. Did he win one ring? Yeah.
I think he got a ring there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I guess, well, whatever. I think he got a ring. Even if
he played 13 years, too. If you play 13 years in the NBA, you have to be a very solid basketball player.
Yeah, let's see. Yeah, let's see. I don't know if he won it. I don't know if he won something. I think he did. He was a round 2 pick. NBA champ, 2008.
What a career.
He has as many rings as Kevin Garnett?
Yeah, that's true. I mean, in basketball worlds, rings are everything. So I guess they're the same exact player.
Yeah, I wonder how many times, I think he has a perfect finals record, so he may as well be.
Is he better than Chris Paul? He's got to be better than Chris Paul because Chris Paul and James Harden.
Yeah, that's true. So Scalabrine better than James Harden, confirmed. Chris Paul yet to be determined.
Chris Paul can tie him right now.
Yeah, I mean, Chris Paul. Oh, yeah, so we'll see. You never know. Scalabrine also has a show, so
yeah, that's true. He's killing the podcast game.
Leg up, yeah.
Everyone's getting podcasts. I love to see it. I think Duncan Robinson has one. JJ Redick has one. Matt Barnes?
Yeah, Channing Frye's got one.
Richard Jefferson.
Richard Jefferson's so funny.
Yeah.
I saw like a great thing yesterday, just in terms of like media personalities. There was a meme on Twitter, and it was whether Rachel Nichols' apology was longer than a Giannis free throw, and it was like 10 seconds shy.
That's hilarious. I mean, we won't get Giannis free throws for the next couple games, but I know my man Lou in the comments was just saying that they should just hack a Giannis all series and just go that route. But that'd be interesting. That'd be the one boring final. So I think if the NBA was to outlaw that rule, now would definitely be the time.
Yeah,
I'm gonna pause this real quick and just shout out our NBA jersey giveaway. Go on our Instagram, follow all those rules, enter to win a free NBA jersey. We have a lot of people doing it right now, but I mean it's free. And a free chance to win jerseys from the NBA store. So it's a legit jersey. We're not doing those random ones from China. It's a legit jersey. Just put your information in and just wait it out. End of July, you'll get a free jersey. Knock on wood, it's going to be you. Going to shout out Joe's Twitter handle real quick. You can find his articles that I believe you share your articles
usually,
on your Twitter.
Yeah.
His Twitter handle is very original. No creative minds went into making his Twitter handle. It is at Joe Delara, which definitely helps you out when you try and look for him. So You want the Kuzma jersey. You
Yeah,
might
that's
be
my
the only
boy.
person who wants that, but
That's my boy.
we're going to dive in on some NBA playoffs. What is your biggest takeaway from the NBA playoffs this year?
So, I mean, I think this has been a story that everybody's been talking about, and it's about how all these star players are getting hurt and everybody's injured, and like there's been a lot of injuries too. And basically every team has gone through it. Even the Suns have been, getting some injuries. Like Chris Paul had the shoulder injury. Campaign was out for a little bit. So a lot of it has to do with the turnaround time from last season to this season. And, you have like the best players in the world really there, like, they're all hurt. Like LeBron's hurt, AD got hurt, Kawhi Leonard got hurt. It's,
Jamal Murray and Jaylen Brown were hurt before the playoffs too.
Yeah. So, and I think that like the problem with the way the story's been coming out is like, it's like, oh, the NBA pushed the players to come back too soon. That's not really true. Like all these people had to vote on it. Like maybe LeBron himself like would not have wanted to come back so soon because he like doesn't have an interest in playing in the Olympics, number one, and also just like whatever. Like I have enough money. Like I don't need to come back. But most of these players like they needed to come back. Like it was better money. It was a better situation. So it was a voted on thing. Like this is not something that it was only the coaches. It was only the owners. That's not what it was. The players also voted. So I think there's that. And then another thing that we can talk about in terms of the playoffs is 3-point variance, and you have these teams that just are shooting an absurd amount of threes. I think I saw a stat, and it was the Bucks are like 7-0 when they make 10 or more threes in a game. Wow. So it's just, I mean, granted, like 4 of those games, almost I think 3 or 4 of those games were against Miami, but because they just waxed those tits. But the Bucks, so I think that's a story. But then you can look at it and there's been some like very good defense on some of these teams. Like the Bucks are still playing great defense. The Suns are playing great defense. But it's in part because of their way that they can cover the 3-point line or, allow teams to shoot from 3 if they want to. So it's definitely an interesting playoffs. And I think that, we have 2 of the best teams in the league in the finals. It's a little bit unexpected considering their paths, but they're still very good teams.
Yeah, I mean, both of these teams, if I'm not mistaken, knocked out the defending conference champions. I mean, the Suns beat the Lakers and the Bucks beat the Heat. I mean, I think the Heat were very banged up. I think the Lakers and the Heat had the worst off season to prepare for this, especially
by far.
Especially Anthony Davis, who's not even used to going far in the playoffs anyway. He had like no time to fix his body.
Yeah, Anthony Davis played so little, he didn't even get a chance to play fucking center for the Lakers. So I mean, it's like, what are you gonna do?
Yeah,
I think that was a tough scenario. LeBron definitely wasn't healthy. I was watching some clips the other day, and you can tell when he's healthy, he's still the best player in the league. It's insane.
Yeah, I was watching his jump shots. He's taking a lot more. His layups usually gets right up to the rim. He was almost like he just couldn't elevate. I guess off that ankle as much as he's used to, and I think he knew this wasn't the year. Even if they got through the Suns and AD was still banged up, they weren't going to win. They were just way too hurt.
It was a very tough year, and the Suns were a tough draw. First off, I mean, granted, they kind of did it themselves. They were hurt. They didn't really try, whatever. But the Suns were a tough draw. I mean, they're very sound defensively. They have so many different ways to attack you offensively, and they can play multiple styles of defense. Even though they prefer to play drop coverage, they can switch. They can play at the level. They're very good defensively, and
they also have a lot of 3-and-D wings, Jay Crowder and Bridges. They space the floor so well, and they also play great defense. So
and you have Chris Paul facilitating, so that's tough. It's really tough. The Suns are good.
Yeah, they're definitely good. I wish they could have played the Nets instead of the Bucks, or the Bucks with a healthy Giannis. But I mean, beggars can't be choosers. So
I mean, he's listed as doubtful for tonight's game, so we're not super sure. I doubt he'll play tonight. I'll be surprised. But I think that I think the Bucks are. I still think the Bucks are very good. I think that looking at the numbers, I still cannot wrap my head around the fact that the Sixers lost to the Hawks. It's mind-boggling to me. And I think that that's one of the things that's very surprising about these playoffs. But I do think that like I'm looking at some of these comments and I see like, I agree like the Hawks don't really have a great defense. But one of the things about the Nets that was interesting was that the Nets defense is actually not as bad as you think it would be. And a lot of it has to do with the fact that they played a completely different lineup during the playoffs. And like when you insert Nick Claxton a little bit more and Blake, you get like they're able to switch a little bit better, and they can switch on everything basically due to their length. So it's going to be a good matchup, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I mean that's going to segue into our who's going to win this finals. Obviously, with a healthy Giannis, I have to lean the Bucks. But given our circumstance right now, how do you see this finals playing out? Both scenarios, if Giannis was to play and if he wasn't.
So I think that Giannis, I don't think that he's going to play tonight. He's listed as doubtful. I don't think that there's a reason to push him to play in game one when traditionally, if you think about the way like sports goes, kind of, it's like even if you lose the first two on the road, you lost the first two on the road.
Yeah, you're supposed to lose those two technically.
Yeah, like supposed to, like you're trying to steal one.
Yeah.
So I think that Giannis does not play tonight. There's actually a bet that I like a lot, and it's on BetMGM. It's for the Bucks to win the series after trailing at any point. So like you'll traditionally see on most books, you'll see like game series parlays, and there's like Suns game one, Bucks to win the series, and those are usually from what I've been seeing, they're about like plus 350. This bet on BetMGM, for whatever reason, I don't really understand why there's like the odds discrepancy, but it's 5-1. So I think that that's a good play because I think that they do lose game one, and you're getting like a legitimate, shot here. So considering that they said that there's no structural damage to Giannis, to me, I think that even if they lose game one, he still might not play game two. But the way that the Suns shoot, the way that the Bucks shoot rather, and the way that the Suns defend, the Suns give up a lot of threes. Granted, it's in part by design because of the way that they play defense. They like to play a lot of drop coverage, but that's a shot that, when I was looking at some of the stats, like Middleton took in the games against the Suns this year, granted this Bucks lost both by like a collective, like 2 points. In those games, Middleton went from taking like 6 threes, and then the second game he took 9. So you're seeing the Bucks, like they're going to try to take a lot of threes against this Suns team, and it's going to create a math problem. Just because the Suns don't really rely on the 3-point game for their offense. Both of these teams are really odd. They play a lot of mid-range game. They like to get to the rim, but I think that the Bucks have a better shooting situation with Middleton. You still have Holiday. Even Lopez can space the floor a little bit better, which is going to be an interesting wrinkle to see how Ayton plays like on the outside, basically, if Lopez is playing on the perimeter. So I think it's going to be interesting. I wouldn't be surprised if Giannis doesn't come back until game 3. But we'll have to see what the injury situation is. I mean, the fact that he's listed as doubtful for game 1 is definitely a good thing rather than
just being out.
Else. And they had said that he was a maybe to play in game 7 if it had gotten there against the Hawks. So I would imagine that maybe the Bucks just kind of want to wait one more game and see. But it's entirely possible that he plays. It's entirely possible that he plays tonight, but I doubt it. I would think maybe game 2, 3.
Yeah, I would argue even if the Bucks, let's say the Bucks steal tonight or they steal the next game, if he's still not 100%, they could actually afford to sit him game 3 almost if they were to steal. I doubt they would just because it's the finals, but if you steal a game, you kind of have more, I guess, wiggle room to deal with. So I always say this about Bucks series. I think the Bucks, this is not an accurate statement, but it seems like they live and die by whether or not PJ Tucker can hit the open 3 or not. Like it seems like if he's hitting open 3s, they're so dangerous. And if he's just bricking, they're in trouble. It's definitely, not 100% based on the outcome, whether or not he's hitting 3s or not. But if he's hitting 3s and people like Pat Connaughton can hit some threes. You know, Pat Connaughton gives me like Matthew Dellavedova vibes in this series.
He's like one of those like microwave scorers. I mean, like if you look at the Bucks stats, right? You have a bunch of guys that like one of the things that I like to look at is like points per shot attempt. And if you look at the guys in the playoffs, which has been crazy, is like their number one guy in points per shot attempts is Pat Connaughton. He scores 126.7 points per like 100 shot attempts, which is crazy. It's like
that's really good.
It's like 90th percentile, yeah. So like he's been incredible. Actually, Brooke Lopez is 130, but like you see these guys like they're playing like great. So it's going to be interesting to see how the Bucks use these players to maybe space the floor. Notoriously, Budenholzer is a bad adjuster, and it's kind of one of those things like if you're a Bucks fan, you better hope to God that they win the finals this year because you can't fire him now.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah.
You know, so you have to hope that happens.
Well, did the Raptors? Did Dwayne Casey get fired after he won the championship, or no? That was after he had the most wins. That was after he had the most wins.
Yeah, he won like Coach of the Year.
Yeah. Okay,
he didn't win the title. Yeah, so if it's just an interesting. It's an interesting spot. Yeah.
So going to your NBA Finals, who is your Finals MVP and why is it Pat Connaughton?
So you know what? So I'm gonna kind of have to like toot my own horn a little bit here because I think this is more like a value bet. I hit Chris Paul before like in the like right around like when the Suns were up 3-0 on the Nuggets, and I got him around 12-1. So because I just felt like if the Suns win, it's going to be him or Booker. You know, it is what it is. Now, if the Bucks win, I do think the Bucks likely steal. I think they can win game 2. I don't think they win game 1. I think they can win game 2. And then I like Chris Middleton at 7-1 on GM. You see his odds, like they're kind of all over the place. They're 5-1 to 7-1. You might even be able to get an 8-1. So this is more of like a value play. I'm adding it to my portfolio of plays here. I think that this is an interesting play. Like on the season without Giannis, he played 10 games without Giannis. He averaged 24, 6.7, and 6. Now in the playoffs against the Hawks, he averaged 29, 8.5, and 7.5. So like those are MVP, like Finals MVP like, caliber numbers. And I think that like if they're going to win a game, it's going to be because of Chris Middleton.
He has that fourth quarter like he had against
like he's going to have one of those games where he just absolutely balls out. And, you know, we've seen him. He has like a little bit of a dip in efficiency in terms of his shooting during the playoffs. But the Suns give up 38.3% of opponent shots are from the 3-point line, which is like one of the most in the postseason. And although they defended those the best in the league, Middleton he shot 41% from 3 during the regular season. So this is an opportunity. He can get hot. I like this spot for him. And I think that if Giannis comes back game 3, you know, you kind of have an opportunity there.
And he'll also be like limited minutes, maybe. You know, he may be unless he has the same. Yeah. Unless he has 40, 40, 40, and 40, he's not going to win the MVP. Only playing 3 games.
And the thing is, like, if the Bucks win a game without Giannis, so then that's one less game that Giannis can be like, oh, like he had like a staple performance in whatever. So like I think it's going to be interesting there. And even if Giannis comes back, he might be a decoy. He might just be used like he's very good defensively. Obviously, he's got a lot of length. So I think that there's some room here for Middleton. I like him over Drew Holiday because of the fact that I would say that he's a better scorer. He's more likely to have that like high ceiling type of game in terms of
his shot attempts are going to be there too. And he's going to hit some threes. So if he goes 5 for 9 on threes a game, that's 15 points there.
Yeah. And like if you do want to bet on the Suns, like I just don't see the value in Chris Paul anymore. It's not that I don't think that he can win it. There's just no value.
There's no value.
I just don't think it's worth it.
He almost has Patrick Mahomes odds, but like he's not a quarterback. Like, you know what I mean? Like, like with Patrick Mahomes in the Super Bowl, you can make that argument because most of the time it's going to go to a quarterback. But Chris Paul, on DraftKings, he's plus 160.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's tough. I think that you can make the you can make an argument for Booker. Sure. Booker's like an incredible scorer, great finisher, whatever. This bet, this is kind of a narrative award. And
I
unless Chris
agree.
Paul like shits the bed, and like Booker has to be, I think, in my opinion, he has to be so much better than Chris Paul to win Finals
Yeah.
MVP that I don't think that there's like a ton of value on the like plus 270 number.
Yeah.
So like that's the only reason that I don't like it. And then like honestly, like if Chris Paul gets hurt or like to open up a window, then you have to think the Bucks are going to win. Like, so like, it's not like Chris Paul has to be healthy in order for the Suns to win this series.
I
like,
agree.
There's no
100%.
way that he can't play a game. And then like, I just don't see that like the narrative turning for Booker. Like Booker would have to hit like a game winner or something like that. And then like, I don't see that happening here. Like you're betting on a game winner, which is like, do you really want to do that at, like 2.5 to 1 odds?
Yeah.
Probably not. Like, I don't like that play.
I agree.
So
I mean, and Chris Middleton's a good hedge on your bet that you made with Chris Paul because you kind of get one on each side.
Yeah.
If you want to bet, I think there's no one that can win MVP on the Suns besides Chris Paul.
Yeah.
Maybe Devin Booker if he goes absolutely crazy, but I think the narrative is also Chris Paul is the reason why they're here.
Yeah. And I mean, like, unless you want to say Jay Crowder is the reason that you're there. I know, like, one of the guys I write with, Brandon Anderson for the Action Network, he's like, Jay Crowder just keeps going team to team and brings them to the NBA Finals. He low key does. Like he did it. He's
a perfect asset to any team. He's a 3-and-D wing, and if he's hitting his threes, which he usually wasn't before, which is the argument I would say. Yeah, he's been hitting them now. Which, I mean, no one's going to give him credit, though. I mean, James Jones has been to however many finals. He's in the Suns.
Another GOAT.
I personally am going to make this bet. I'm going to get so much scrutiny in the comments from everyone I know. But my New Jersey Nets fandom and my Brooklyn Nets before they got Katie and stuff, I think Brooke Lopez has. I'm not gonna put a lot of money on it, but $1 to win 100, like I just think he could have a 30-piece McNugget whenever he wants to. That is what I'm gonna do, and Lou's gonna literally rip me a new one.
So are we saying we're gonna bet on Brooke Lopez to win Finals MVP over Devin Booker?
No.
Is that what we're doing?
I'm just saying the value's there. $1. Don't eat a McChicken today and put it on Brooke Lopez to win.
Dude. I couldn't tell. Well, I couldn't tell you the last time I ate a McChicken. I did have Wendy's 3 days in a row recently. That was
pretty solid.
Those biggie bags are crazy. No free ads though. No, but I do think that that's a fucking wild take. The one thing that I will say about this finals is that surprisingly, and I think that this is like a really interesting thing, the Suns look like they've dominated teams throughout the playoffs, right? They have, right? They only are 0.3 points per 100 possessions better than the Bucks in the postseason. And I think that's, did I cut out?
Yeah, I think you cut out.
Okay, so they're like the Suns have dominated people. They're only 0.3 points per 100 possessions better than the Bucks during the postseason, which I think is shocking. And that's like, and the Suns didn't have to go through the Nets. I get like the Lakers were banged up. The Nuggets were just absolutely cooked. Like get those at the fucking dollar menu. Yeah. And then, so you have them, and then, the Suns just really didn't seem to face like the Clippers were basically, here's what happened. Lakers were good defensively. The Nuggets were terrible defensively, but great offensively. And the Clippers were kind of good at both. Now you have a team when the Bucks, who is also like similar with the Suns, they both have just been struggling to score. Like they both have not been good offensively during the postseason, but their defenses have been incredible. Like looking at their offense, they're both ranked during the postseason. The Bucks are 10th and the Suns are 8th. And then on defense, the Bucks are 2nd and the Suns are 4th. So it's going to be a really interesting scenario because like the Clippers are probably the best team that the Suns faced this postseason, and I don't know. Like Clippers might have beat them if Kawhi was healthy.
I think they
So
would have, if we're being
yeah,
honest. They went
and
like
and they struggled to score. That's the thing. Like that's scary. That makes me nervous about the Suns is that they were struggling to score against a Clippers team whose defense is like not good. Like their defense was 10th in the league in the postseason. So if you're looking at this, like the Bucks have been good. Like they were keeping the Nets to like low totals, and I get like there were certain guys that were hurt, but it was still the Nets. Like that's what they do. They just score. So it's a very interesting situation here. I don't, and that's kind of why I like the Bucks to win this series in the long run, because they're a better rebounding team. They're the number one rebounding team in the playoffs in terms of rebounding rate. They rebound around like 53% of all rebound opportunities, and the Suns were 7th at around 50%. So like if you're looking at that, like I think that the Bucks are better, and I think that the Bucks are not getting enough like love, because like the only problem with the Bucks is like you look at them and you go, who's like taking this last shot? Like who's going to save us here? Like if it does get to be a close game, because like Giannis like kind of puckers in terms of the free throws. And then, on the Suns, you have Booker and you have Chris Paul. But I think I just think the Bucks are better. Like the Bucks are supposed to win a title. I get the way the narrative is shaping up for Chris Paul, but the Bucks had title expectations coming into the season. They've made the NBA finals. I get that they've had to go through, certain banged up teams and whatever. But like the Bucks are supposed to be here. The Bucks are really good. And the Bucks were a team that we were talking about, in terms of like betting on before the season started. So
I agree.
I think over the course of the series, and like that's part of why I think the Suns win game 1 without Giannis playing. And I think they hold him for game 2. And that's why I was saying, like, I think that you're going to get, if you want to bet the Bucks and you don't have a future on them, I think that you either take the bet that I was saying before, the Bucks to win after trailing at any point, 5-1.
After game 1.
Yeah, because the thing is, too, you get multiple bites of the apple with the trailing at any point, because that means that even if the Bucks win game 1, if they drop the next 2 and they're down 2-1, then that could hit then too.
Yeah.
So, or if you didn't, like you don't bet on them before today. If they win tonight, then you're going to have like a much better like statistical probability that they win. And considering they're dogs, you're probably not going to have to lay too much juice.
Yeah.
And then, if they lose, you're going to get a better number. So I think that you just wait a little bit and then you can grab them after tonight either way.
Yeah, I think you're 100% right. I think both of these teams have enough. Both these teams are so defensively sound that and they do struggle offensively that like.
Yeah.
But these two teams can also go on crazy runs. Like
exactly.
When the Suns are hitting threes, they're almost unstoppable.
Yeah.
And when the Bucks are hitting threes, they're almost unstoppable as well. PJ Tucker specifically. But
yeah.
And I think some live scenarios can come into play.
Yeah.
In this finals.
I mean, I think one of the things that to remember too with these teams is like if you look at what they allow their opponents to do, right? So like these two teams like allow opponents to shoot threes. It's like I don't know, like for whatever reason, like that's the way that they want to do it. They play a lot of drop coverage. So if you're going to have two teams playing drop and then two teams get hot at the same time, like you're going to get a lot of you can get a high scoring game out of nowhere. And it's one of the things that concerns me about the total today, because I see it's around like 218. I think it got bet up about a point. I think that you're better off trying to live bet it. Like you said, like if they start off hot, I might look to play an under like around halftime or something like that and see if they cool off after a little bit of a break, and just try to gauge it that way. Or, if you see them not scoring at all to start the game, you have to make a decision. It's like, do these guys look off, or is it just like they're getting good looks and they're missing? Like, what's the situation here?
I might dive into like a first period under, because you have to think none of these guys have been here before, and none of these guys have been here before. Like, like who's won a championship on the roster? I think 0 is
Nobody.
The actual number.
I think Jay Crowder. Yeah, Jay Crowder. That's about it.
So I mean, like it's. I think the nerves are going to get you. There's going to be a lot of feeling out. There's going to be a lot of, nerves. Maybe you get some like, some shots that you just don't really want to take early on. And that's kind of where I might actually go here. And maybe you could live bet it after. But what is your NBA play today? Real quickly, as I always get stuck talking with you for a long time, but
Yeah. Honestly, I feel like there's been so many people on the Suns that I'm looking at, and I see the way the lines moved. I get it. It's an interesting scenario, but I do think I still like I like the Bucks. I think that 6.5 is just a lot. I will say though, like I'm taking Bucks 6.5, but there are a lot of promos out today for the Suns on a
Suns money
boosted
line.
money line.
I
Yeah,
saw
so
that.
like DraftKings has Suns money line boosted to plus 100. William Hill has Suns money line boosted to plus 100. I would take a look at these. You might have a middle opportunity, honestly. You could kind of take both if you want to try to hedge your bets a little bit, or you could free roll it and kind of use a little bit of arbitrage
Yeah.
to get yourself there. Kind of build your bankroll for the rest of the series.
Final. Yeah, I think you're right there.
But I like Bucks 6.5. I'm gonna play it small. And I'm definitely gonna take advantage of those. I mean, like you're getting free money, like you're getting free odds. So
Yeah.
I don't normally like it because I do feel like they're always like a trap. But I just think that there's value on it, and you can kind of try to gain a little bit of profit there. But there's ways to make it so that you're just getting free money. I mean, if you look at the Bucks money line odds, they're plus 215. The boosted odds on the Suns money line is 50 or is 100 plus 100. So
Yeah.
like you can make this a free roll situation for yourself, or just arbitrage it and get some free money. So I think that like even if you don't like taking boosted money line odds, you may as well use it to your advantage one way or the other, and you're going to bring a little bit of free money back. I don't know what people's bankrolls are, but you can bring a little bit back, or you can free roll a bet on the Bucks.
Yeah, I think my play is going to be bet those odds boosts, and then just bet the same amount of money on Bucks 6.5 and try and free roll it.
Yeah.
Because I don't think it's going to be a blowout. I just think these teams don't score enough for it to be a
6.5
blowout.
is a big spread for a game where you like. It's just a huge spread. Like I don't like both these teams are in the finals. Like it's a big spread.
Also, like easily backdoor cover if the Bucks are down 9. Chris Middleton just pulls up from 3, makes it to 6. You can there's so many scenarios you can cover this.
Yeah.
We're gonna go into the MLB action for you guys. I'm gonna start with actually the plays today. Gonna skip through not plays, but we're gonna talk about some games here. You have Red Sox, Angels. You have Ohtani-san versus Eovaldi. 2 teams that the Angels are never good, but they're fun to watch. And the Red Sox are definitely a surprise playoff team here. So at least so far. What are your thoughts on this game? The Red Sox are 9-1 their last 10, and the Angels are 6-4 in their last 10. So 2 teams trending upward as of now, at least.
Yeah. Well, I'm a little concerned about the game just because I think the Red Sox are I did not think the Red Sox were going to be this good. I don't think anybody really thought the Red Sox were going to be this good going into the season. And Ohtani has so much hype about him that I'm just generally a little bit nervous about this game because it's basically a pick 'em. And I think that like people want to bet on Ohtani. So it's created like this interesting situation. And like the Red Sox are nasty. Like they're 21 games over 500. They're 11 over 500 on the road, and they're 9 over 500 against teams with a winning record. So I think that they've been like so red hot. I think it's almost hard to not bet on the Red Sox. But I want to bet on Ohtani. I don't know what are your thoughts?
I think that's every person. Everyone loves Ohtani. I personally like to fade Ohtani when he's pitching because I just feel like at the plate he's not 100%. I do like Eovaldi as well. I like Eovaldi on the road. He's 4-1. ERA is about a 3 in like 5 appearances. So 4-1, but like ERA is a 3, so it means his team is definitely backing him up. Their offense is disgusting. Bogarts, Verdugo, Devers. They have such a good lineup. And I think the biggest surprise in the Red Sox this year is that their pitching's been good. Like we knew their lineup was filthy, but their pitching was atrocious. Or at least we thought coming in.
Yeah.
I think the Red Sox are coming off a victory. I think you have to ride the Red Sox wave here, although I'm not going to officially play this. But this is just a team. If you're this is a game. If you're a baseball fan that you want to watch, you're one of the hottest teams in baseball versus literally the hottest player in baseball, pitcher and hitter, right before the All-Star break. So that's what it's going to be for me, just a watch game. Do you have a play here, or are you just going to sit back and watch?
I'm probably going to sit back and watch. I will let everybody know, like just looking at some of the data that I'm looking at from the Action Network, the Red Sox are getting 70% of the money line bets, but 82% of the dollars. So they're getting hit pretty hard. The line has moved in their direction. I think that if you want to get in on this game, you need to get in on it now rather than later, because this line is only going to move against the Red Sox the way it's looking. So you're just probably getting the best number that you can right now.
This is why we have the show, by the way, guys. This is why it's called the Leadoff, because you get the best lines. Well, you get a chance to jump on the lines while everyone's still around. Because I agree with you. I think the Red Sox, what was a pick'em game? I think it goes to -120, -130 by game start.
And then at that point you kind of lose the value, you lose the edge. And I mean, if you're betting $100 per game, that's like a $20 difference. So
yeah.
It's significant. It's one thing when you're betting $10, if you want to lay a little extra juice, but if you're betting $100, like that adds up, and that cuts into your losses, that cuts into your profitability. So you want to be able to get the best line. Make sure you line shop.
Yeah, I think the Red Sox is the play for me if I had to lean somewhere.
Yeah.
Because Eovaldi has just been very, very, very solid. Going on to our next game, White Sox Twins. I know Lou is a White Sox fan. The White Sox are coming off of L last night, but you have Rodon versus Berrios, divisional matchup where the Twins are definitely sellers, and the guy in the mound is probably gone by the trade deadline. If you were to ask me, Berrios is most likely gone. But you have the White Sox, who are 31-14 at home. And 18-21 on the road. So that's a little cause for concern. 5-5 in their last 10, where the Twins are just basically the same, 35-48, pretty even split home and road, and they're 4-6 in the last 10, but they just beat the White Sox. Do you have a play here?
Yeah, I like the White Sox here. The fact that you're getting them at basically a pick 'em, I really like. I get that, and they're also getting over like 70% more money than bets on the money line here. And like Rodon has been very, very good. The one thing that has concerned me a little bit is he's allowed 11 runs over his last 15 innings pitched. But I do think that, he just saw this Minnesota lineup last week. I think that he was able to earn 30, he had like a 47% whiff rate overall. So like I think he just kind of pitched into a little bit of bad luck. And I think that's why you're getting this line. Again, because of his stats basically against the Twins. He went out there 5 innings, 4 earned runs, but he had 9 Ks. So I think that he's going to be able to, kind of straighten that out a little bit. And I like this opportunity for him. And I like this price. I mean, I don't think you don't usually get this good of a price here on Rodon. So he's still striking guys out. I don't think it's a spider tack issue. So I think he just gave up. I think he just kind of pitched into a little bit of bad luck there.
Yeah, I have to agree with you. White Sox have been struggling a little bit in that series against the Tigers, but the people don't give the Tigers enough credit. They're not as bad of a team, at least pitching wise. In my opinion, I think I'm leaning the White Sox here as well. I think I like your play, White Sox -115. I like Rodon more than I like Berrios. I think the Twins are going to start just relaxing until the All-Star break, and they're going to see Berrios in a different uniform. I think the time to bet on the White Sox in this game is now. I think you're going to see you might see this line go in another way. I'm not really sure, but they're getting hammered with some money early.
Yeah.
I like the White Sox today. I know Lou probably does as well because he's a fan, but over 8 as well.
I was gonna say over 8. I think is also a good play. I think you want to take it you want to try to get the 8. If you have to go to over 8.5, that's also a move. I mean, both of these teams, like the Twins' big issue has been pitching, not as much the hitting. So the over is 25, 14, and 2 in target field this season. So I think that the over 8 is a nice little play there. If you can grab it. I'm seeing over 8 at, let's see what books we see it at. I see over 8 pretty much everywhere besides FanDuel. You can get over 8 at about like -110, -115. So I think that's a good play. Couple it with the White Sox money line.
Yeah, I have to agree with you there. I think it's either the over or the White Sox here. I'm gonna go ahead and do my free play. Am I lagging a little bit? I don't know what's going on.
It might be my feed.
I'm gonna give out this free play. Freddie Freeman over 1.5 bases for me. Freddie Freeman, obviously stud on the Braves. He's been, not as dominant as he was last year, obviously, but he's been coming into form as of late. Coming off 2 hits yesterday, 1 hit the game before, 3 hits the game before. So he's riding a 5-game hitting streak as of now, from what I'm seeing. And Chad Kuhl, again, best fraternity name ever, in my opinion, is Chad Kuhl.
Great name.
But his numbers to lefties are atrocious. Lefties versus Kuhl have a weighted OBA average of 0.362, ISO of 0.206. He does not strike them out. He actually walks them a lot, which is a cause for concern. But his hard hit percentage is 44%, and righties is only 25%. So roughly the same sample size, 96 at-bats versus 86 at-bats. So lefties are hitting him a lot harder. Freeman is definitely feeling himself right now, and I think it's a fantastic spot. I mean, Freeman's on a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8-game hitting streak, and then he missed 1 and had 3 in the next. So he's been on fire. I don't like playing over bases that have this much juice. I'm usually like a plus money over bases guy, but I think Freddie Freeman easily hits a double for us today or goes yard.
Wow, I'd love to see that.
That's easily my play today. I'm going to give the boys the parlay of the day. That kind of good. That doesn't go against what we were talking about, but it's decent odds for us. We're actually coming off a parlay victory in our last episode, so no pressure here. We kind of cooked this up a little pre-show for you guys, but our parlay of the day is, this line isn't out yet on most books because I think the Orioles pitcher is not listed yet.
That's the issue.
But we have Blue Jays money line, Suns money line, White Sox money line. I'm gonna, clip this somewhere, so I'm gonna point like this. So I'm just gonna do this. This is our parlay today. Only plus 260, but winners are winners, and they pay for your dinners. So that's kind of what we're going for here. The Blue Jays with Matz on the mound. I think Vlad has himself a day versus the Orioles. The Suns money line. Again, we think the Bucks cover, but we think the Suns take game 1, and the White Sox money line, and all of it is plus 260. Really nice and easy. Honestly, if you want to add Italy to advance, be my guest.
Honestly, just no idea about the soccer, so.
But this is the 3-headed dragon here: Blue Jays, Suns, White Sox. That's pretty much it. You get 2 baseball, 1 basketball. You want to talk about any of this parlay, Joe?
I just think that this is a good situation. We talked about the White Sox. We talked about why I think the Suns win today. And the Blue Jays, like the Orioles are just absolute buns. Like, I don't care what anybody says. Like, they are not good. I think this is a good spot. And considering they don't really know who's starting today, I think that's it's a little bit of a better opportunity for us with the Blue Jays there.
I agree 100%. So lock that in, boys. I'm going to make it a little graphic, and we'll post that on the socials later. Hopefully it hits for you guys. We're 1-1 on parlays, so we're definitely in the positive. So looking to keep that going. Talking about some things that I want to bring up just because I'm an asshole. Garrett Cole, is he in a sticky situation? Is he on Spider Tack? And why is the answer yes?
So I think it's actually like an interesting situation here with a lot of these guys. I do think that there's definitely like a problem here. Um,
It's definitely not just Garrett Cole. I just want to make it known.
no, it's definitely not just Eric Cole, but I think that one of the things that I don't like about this, and Trevor Bauer, like not confirmed, not great guy.
Well, he
But
has other issues.
he's in his own sticky situation.
Yeah.
But spider tack removed. But one of the things that he said which was interesting, was like, these guys, it's tough to tell baseball like players like, hey, like you've been using this thing, you can't use it anymore, like in the middle of the season,
Yeah.
So I think that it's hard to adjust. Like, you're not getting the same type of practicing in, you're not getting the same type of situations where you can try to figure out what's going on here.
Yeah.
So I'm not super surprised that this is happening, but it seems to be happening like throughout the league. For like a variety of different pitchers.
A lot of strikeout rates drop. I think, like, my problem is Trevor Bauer, as much as I hate him, he's right. Like, you can't just do this mid-season when guys are used to it, because you're going to see guys getting injured, because guys are going to have to use a different motion to try and grip the ball differently. Mid-season is not what you want. And then if starters get hurt, relievers are going to have to start, handling more workload as well. I kind of equate it to like the NBA traveling issues. Like the rules are so like they're allowed, sunscreen and the rosin bag or whatever it's called on the mound. And Trevor Bauer was like, doing this with the ball. And he's like, it's sickening to me, but this is legal stuff that you guys give us. Like, what's the line cross here? You kind of let, like, the line is, there is no line. It's kind of so vague. And it's kind of like the NBA where like guys started like traveling a little more and like the refs didn't really do anything. And now it's like every player does it, but people only hate Garrett Cole because he's, Garrett Cole. People only hate LeBron because LeBron's doing it. But like everyone's doing it, and the refs don't stop it. So like, at what point does it have to stop? And you can't just do it mid-season. I think that's actually ridiculous.
Yeah, and that's one of the things. Like, I think it was Pete Alonso actually said something. He was like, like, look at all the guys that are going to be free agents this offseason. All the people that are big free agents this offseason are hitters. Yeah. So, and it's just like this. It's like, this big brain conspiracy theory. Like, put the tinfoil hat on that the Major League Baseball is like, well, we want more runs. Well, they always want more runs, but they want these guys to get paid, like, whatever. Yeah. And like before, they didn't want to enforce anything, and it was about like, oh, the balls are juiced, like, so then they unjuice the balls, but it's like all the free agents were pitchers, so it's like an interesting situation here. It's like, what, like, maybe they want to see these big contracts. I don't know what it is, but it's kind of a lousy spot. I know a lot of hitters have even come out and said like they'd rather know that the guys can actually hold the baseball properly.
Yeah, because they don't get beamed in the face like Kevin Pillar.
Yeah, like, I know, like, if I was hitting, like, I would much rather know like the guy's just going to be throwing filth, but I'm not going to get hit, than like this guy might not be able to hold the ball properly, and like I'm in the danger zone. Like, it's like the difference between facing a guy that like is pounding the strike zone and facing like Randy Johnson when he was on the Mariners hitting ducks. Yeah. So like, like it's the same scenario. Like that's like a scary situation.
Like, yeah, if I'm going in the batter's box against Aroldis Chapman and I'm like, he could be wild, I'm gonna hate myself.
I'm puckering.
Literally. I'd rather him blow a 101 fastball on the inside corner than him hit me in the forearm. You know what I mean? Like, so I agree with you 100%. I think we're going to see a lot of pitchers, and it just sucks for pitchers on like contract years though. Cause like Stroman, he's been pitching well, but like,
he's been pitching fine, but like still.
If you're having a contract year and they kind of throw this on you, you have to almost sign a 1-year deal to like try and prove yourself again or do whatever. It's gonna.
And then you see like the guys that aren't affected by it, like DeGrom. Like, DeGrom's a freak, but like he's like, you can see like his spin rate's been unaffected. I think Gausman, he's been like unaffected by it. There's some guys that just like it's not bothering them whatsoever. So that's like obviously good for them, but like the main thing that we're looking at is spin rate. Like, you're like Cole, like when you watch him play, like he's not really he's not too far down, but it's like it's just enough that like
Yeah.
maybe he's not getting like just as much snap on it, or he doesn't have as good feel
Well,
on it.
Garrett Cole doesn't have like he's like a placement pitcher. He's not gonna throw a nasty 12-6, goes from like 12 o'clock to 6 o'clock.
Yeah,
He's gonna, find his spots and it's gonna move a little bit. And it's kind of like the Mariano Rivera,
yeah,
like
like he's a placement pitcher, and
yeah,
like then you got like I don't know, I don't think Chapman's got a spider tack issue because like I haven't looked
he's
too much.
always been wild.
He's just like he just is prone to like these blow ups every so often. So like
Yeah.
I'm not super concerned about him long term, but like the announcement of him and Cole making the All-Star team was just absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, especially after that game.
That was painful. That like really hurt. I was
Yeah.
like, come on. So
I think the All-Star game is a little weird this year. Like I think Walker Buehler got snubbed. I think a lot of people got snubbed.
a lot of snubs. But Otani's on twice, I guess. Like I'm curious to see if they're gonna let him like go in and out of the game multiple times, like if he's allowed to pitch
He'll
and
probably
hit.
start and then bat like third.
But then is he gonna be able to be like a DH? Like, you know what I mean? I'm curious to see what they're gonna do.
Yeah, I don't know.
They might do like some weird rule for him just that he can do both.
I wanted DeGrom to pitch against Otani, but I don't think DeGrom's pitching anymore. And I wanted to, because he's pitching on this Sunday. He's pitching like the day before. I don't think he's going to throw in the All-Star game, but I want to see him versus Otani so bad. I'm not going to see it in the World Series, so it's
no. The Angels are that team that I always think are going to make the World Series, and they just never do.
Yeah, they literally never do. They have so much. When they got Rendon, I was like, oh, this is it.
And now Otani looks awesome. It's like, no, it's still not going to happen.
Yeah, because Mike Trout and Otani both can't be amazing at the same time. Exactly. He just had to get hurt.
Exactly.
So we've been on for a long time here. We had a couple more segments I wanted to run through, but I'm not going to take too much of our special guest time here. We're going to talk about one more thing, and I'll let you pick, Joe.
All right.
NBA offseason or MLB Dark Horse World Series teams?
I think let's do some NBA offseason. I'm a little bit more ready for that.
Okay. Damian Lillard, is he a trailblazer? Is he not?
I think he is a trailblazer. I think that in order for him to get moved, he has to actually say I want out. And he hasn't said that yet. I think that the more likely move is that CJ McCollum gets moved. It's entirely possible. Like I'm hearing some, this is like the trade that's been going around is like CJ McCollum and some pieces for Ben Simmons. And I think that would be like a nasty, nasty pairing in Portland. And it would give them some much needed defense as well. So a while also taking some of the ball handling responsibilities off of Dame. So I think that's the most likely scenario. If Dame says that he wants out, he can basically pick, I think, whatever team he wants. And the one problem for him is that he is under contract for the next 4 years. So like the Blazers can work with him, but they don't really have to. With that, like there's no risk that he's gonna be like, oh, like I'm not gonna re-sign, because it's like he's under fucking 4 years. He's under contract for 4 years. So one of the things, like I'm a Knicks fan, self-proclaimed. It's been a wild ride. But like one of the things that I'm seeing on like Knicks Twitter, and I've seen this for like multiple teams, like people overvalue their players. Like I love RJ Barrett, but like I'm trading RJ Barrett every time to get Damian Lillard. Like Dame is like a top 10 player in the league. He's like a first ballot Hall of Famer, no doubt in my mind. Like whatever you think Barrett is going to be, it's probably not as good as Dame is right now.
Yeah.
So like I think that's one of those interesting scenarios. So like if you get that opportunity, you have to go take it. Like if you're these teams. So I don't think that Dame is going anywhere. But if he does want out, I think that most teams should be willing to trade literally anything to get him. He's that good. He is going to make you an immediate title contender. I mean, he took that Blazers team who just absolutely cannot play an ounce of defense, and like did some magic with them. So like he's that good. You put any like reasonable pieces around him and you're going to be looking at, potentially a trip to the conference finals. Like he's nasty.
I agree 100%. I don't know why you'd keep RJ RJ Barrett. Like again, you draft RJ Barrett to hope he's like Damian Lillard. Why not just get Damian Lillard now? Like
Yeah,
you're especially when you have Julius Randle and you guys think you have a team that can win. Like it just doesn't make any sense to me why they wouldn't do that.
yeah.
Do you think um, Dennis Schroeder is a Laker?
If you're a Lakers fan, you better hope not, or you better hope that it's cheap. He apparently wants like 100. He wants over $100 million. So like,
Yeah,
I don't understand why he thinks he should get $100 million. I think that's wild. But he's I would lean no.
I
I
don't know
get
who
like
takes him though.
the Lakers have like a cap situation, so like they might be willing to pay more, but like he's not $100 million player. So it's kind of
Yeah,
going to be one of those like, can we afford to let him go? Because like I don't think we can get anything back. But like I mean, like if they can re-sign him, then it creates like a trade piece based on his contract. But I don't think that I can't imagine the Lakers are going to pay him $100 million. Like I think
I
that's
agree.
nuts.
I agree
So
100%.
I'm waiting for the Bulls to pay him $100 million, and then they just have like this team that just like doesn't know how to play defense and like they're not good. Like, so, but the big piece I think is Lonzo this
Yeah,
offseason. Like I'm very interested to see who gets him. I think that the Pelicans need to like. I think that they like him and Zion is the best pair, but the problem is that they already paid Brandon Ingram.
I love
So,
Brandon Ingram though. I
and
think
I
he's
think he's
good.
awesome, but I don't think that Brandon Ingram is a great
I don't think
pair.
he fits there. Yeah,
Yeah, like it's kind of like what are you doing there, you know? So I think that Lonzo is going to be an interesting piece there. Um, the Bulls, there's a lot of teams that want him. I know Rich Paul and his people had wanted him in Chicago. So it's going to be interesting to see if if they try to make a push for him, if the Knicks try to make a push for him. We'll see what
yeah.
happens there. But and
Another
then
guy I like is Spencer
I
Dinwiddie.
love Dinwiddie. Give him all the money.
I
Back up
don't
the
think he
Brinks truck.
stays. I don't think he stays. Like I don't. I think
No.
he's like he reminds me of like Terry Rozier. Like he wants to be the guy. Has spurts of like can literally hoop whenever he wants.
Yeah.
Um, but can also just be an average Joe on a given night. But he can like his ceiling can be ridiculously high if he's on. And
Yeah.
I think he wants to be like the man. I don't think he wants to be the fifth best player on a team. I think he wants to be the man.
Yeah. I
Um,
want the Knicks to go like heavy on Dinwiddie. I think he's really good.
I think he'd be so good there too.
Yeah, like the Knicks like need that guy who can like score at every level, facilitate, have the ball in his hands. Like he would be like a dude that like the Knicks should get or should really try to target, I think. And like roll the dice on a guy that's coming off an injury, maybe get a little bit better of a deal. But he's apparently got like 8 teams that are interested in him.
Yeah, I
So
mean, why wouldn't they?
yeah, I mean, I think he's very good. You saw how he played with the Nets over the past couple seasons. I think that he's really good. I think that he's somebody that you're going to see some of these title contenders going to and saying like, "Yo, like, do you want to sign up?" One of the interesting teams that I saw that like is a dark horse candidate for him is actually the Denver Nuggets. Because he'd be able to kind of fill in for Jamal Murray while Murray's recovering from injury, but then also like he'd be great depth for them off the bench,
Yeah,
as like sixth man. So I get that the injury isn't great, and that's a tough injury to come back from. But I think that if you can get a discount on him, I think his ceiling is high compared to some of the other point guards on the market. Like I'd much rather pay Dinwiddie than Schroeder.
oh,
Um,
100%.
so
Literally
like
100%.
so like if you're looking at it that way, like I think that creates an interesting situation. But I think that Dinwiddie he's going to be a very popular guy. His phone's going to be ringing a lot in the off season.
I think so too. Another guy that I guess you can get a discount on because you never know if he's healthy or not is Victor Oladipo.
Yeah,
I just think he
he's
made
going to
it.
stay in Miami. I think.
You think so? I think people might offer him a ton of money. He definitely probably stays, but I just think he can be. I think he could be like not dominant again, but I think he could be a top 30 player in the league again if he's healthy.
Yeah,
I'm pretty high on Oladipo.
I like Oladipo a lot. I think he's very good. I just think that he wanted to go to Miami. He wants to be in Miami. They have his, like, I guess his bird rights. He like I'd imagine that he wants to stay in Miami there, and and we'll see. I mean, the only way that I think that he doesn't is if Miami tries to make a play on Kawhi, because they're always making a play on everybody.
Yeah.
That's like the only situation where I see
Pat Riley loves the superstars.
Yeah, that's the only reason I see him not staying there. So I do think that he stays in Miami.
Yeah, you think Kawhi stays a Clipper?
I don't know. I mean, there's some stuff floating around that he might want to go to Dallas and play with Luka. You just never know with him. He keeps everything. He plays everything so close to the chest.
He never opens his mouth ever. So
no, it's tough to know. I guess we'll know better like when we see where he, who he takes meetings with or whatever. But
yeah,
at the end of the day, like that Clippers team, they probably, if he's healthy, I think they beat the Suns, and they still didn't have Ibaka was still hurt. Like they were not a full team. So maybe he just stays and just says, like this is a good opportunity for me here.
Yeah, I think there's so much that's going to happen this offseason. Maybe not, like LeBron moving, things like that. But there's a lot of good talent that can be shifted. A lot of trades can happen. Dame can be on the move. Simmons definitely probably will be on the move. So a lot of big names can happen.
Although I did see on the blockchain that Daryl Morey bought a hollow icon Top Shot of Ben Simmons yesterday. So maybe not.
Wow.
little inside info there.
That's awesome. I'm high on Ben Simmons. I hate the Ben Simmons
the slander. And right now you're selling as low as possible.
Yeah. So. I mean, like he just gets so much hate, and there's so much wrong with Philly that, like, for you to blame the whole series loss on Ben Simmons is stupid to me. I was arguing with my brother Dominic, I guess I'll name him now, over who is better, Ben Simmons or Mike Conley, and he said he'll take Mike Conley 10 times out of 10. And I just walked out the room. I mean, I understand what
preposterous take.
Like Ben Simmons, I understand he can't shoot, but Giannis can't shoot either. But I understand Giannis is a better talent than Ben Simmons. But Ben Simmons is just a little worse at everything than Giannis is.
That's fair. That's like a fair take.
He's a little worse at defense, a little worse at driving, a little worse of shooter. Like he's just like he's still a fantastic player. So I don't understand it.
I mean, there's no circumstance where, unless I'm playing horse, that's probably where I'm taking Conley over Simmons. But like,
but if you can dunk, I'm taking Simmons.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of crazy. He can guard every position. Like Simmons is still good, and he's like 24.
Whatever happened to the 3-point? Did they used to have horse in the All-Star game?
They were doing it during COVID.
No, I'm telling you, they used to have horse. I think they had like Kevin Durant versus like who was the guy on like the Kings from like Israel? It was like Kevin Durant versus like him.
Yeah.
Oh, Omri Caspi. And I was like, no one wants to watch Omri Caspi versus like
it's insane.
Kevin Durant play horse. Like it made no sense. I was like, why am I watching this?
Yeah, it's crazy.
If I had to make any adjustments to the All-Star game, is I would have, instead of a 3-point contest with all good shooters, I'd have a 3-point contest with the worst 3-point shooters in the league. I think that'd be so much more exciting.
That's actually funny.
Like put Ben Simmons versus like Boban versus I don't even know who else.
Porzingis
versus like just some huge like if Glenn Davis was still here, like put Glenn Davis, like put like people like who just can't shoot and just put them in 3-point contests. Because at this point they make almost every single one.
Yeah, and they're so good.
It's almost like not fun to watch anymore. So that's if I had to make an adjustment, NBA, if you're watching, Adam Silver, if you're listening, that's take notes.
What do you mean if?
I know he's watching. He's hiding under an alias. His burner account's on.
Yeah.
That covers pretty much everything. We've gone for an hour. Don't want to take up too much time, but again, special thanks to Joe Dallaire for coming on the show. First ever guest, actually.
Wow.
5th episode. That's awesome. Follow his Twitter, Joe Dallaire. If you're on the Action Network and you see his name, definitely lock that play in sooner rather than later. He's got a bunch of stuff coming up on his Twitter. That's just kind of one-stop shop for everything. And it's also a good follow. in general without the picks. So that's my unbiased opinion. Don't forget our NBA jersey giveaway right here. Boom, on all our socials. We're going to blast it out again. Thanks for tuning in. If you guys did, again, here's the parlay. I'm going to, again, clip it at the end so I don't have to sift through. But Blue Jays, Suns, the White Sox money line. Joe, thanks for coming on.
Of
You want to
course.
say one last thing before you go? Your choice. You have the mic if you want to say anything at all.
Hit me up on the socials on Twitter and Instagram. It's Joe Delera. Same thing. Same with my Action Network username if you want to follow me for my picks. We get the articles out there. I'll be covering game 2 of the finals for the Action Network. I might have a best bet up for today's game, but you can find my work there at the Action Network on nba.com/NBA bet. It's a good opportunity. I love doing the writing. So if anybody has any questions, tweet at me, hit me up. I'm pretty engaging on socials. So if you got a question, let me know, and I'll try to answer your questions as best as possible. But it was awesome being here, and Matt's a good dude. So good show.
Love it. We'll definitely have him back on somewhere down the road, maybe NBA offseason stuff. But Joe, pleasure to have you. Always a pleasure. Hope I could say that again soon. I'm going to say my quote that I always say before I leave. Again, all my plays on the Book It app will be free today. Let's go cash another parlay. And just good luck on those tickets, guys. Lou, thanks for being the man in the comments. Join the Discord, by the way, for those who have not. Great content, great dudes, great community, and always winning plays month to month. So definitely come check that out. Good luck on all your plays. We'll be back again tomorrow, 9 a.m. sharp, or I'll be back tomorrow. And if I don't see you, good morning, good afternoon, and good night, guys, and best of luck out there.